Good morning.
Good morning, this is Bernie.
Hey, Bernie.
All right, Bernie.
Okay.
We have a quorum.
We do. We may have one more, but we can.
So,
Rob, we're ready.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Jane. Let's begin the meeting with the notice of public meeting.
In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting has been sent to the Trenton Times and the Star-Ledger at least 48 hours prior to the meeting, and a meeting notice has been duly posted on the Secretary of State's bulletin board at this 20 West State Street in Trenton, New Jersey. Roll call.
Great. Roll call, please.
Okay. Mr. Nixon.
Here.
Ms. Sullivan. Here. Mr. Piaia. Mr.
Here.
Mr. Lucky. Kevin? No, he's on. Yeah. Mr. Moore.
Here.
Ms. Lamel.
I'm here. David Moore is here.
Okay. Ms. Lamel.
Here.
Mr. Maloney.
yes.
Mr. Vargas.
Here.
Mr. Lewis Powder. We have a quorum.
Can someone mute the phone, please?
Yeah, this is Rich Elbert.
Hi, Rich. Okay, we're getting a lot of feedback
Hello.
from someone's phone. Could everyone on the phone mute their phones?
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay.
All right. So I guess we'll stand for Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. As we turn the call, are there more people during the call? If you could just announce yourself. Lester. Great. Thank you, Lester. You had a chance to... Thanks, Kevin.
Sorry, Rob, did you get Egan?
Yes, we did, Kevin.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sorry for interrupting you.
If you've had an opportunity to review the minutes of the February 6, 2019 meeting, I'll accept the motion to approve Resolution 4A.
So move.
Second.
You have a second?
Second, Bernie.
Any discussion, amendments? If not, I'll take a vote. All in favor? Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Great, thank you. But before Lizette gives her report, I just want to make a few comments, if you don't mind. And I know it's pretty out of the ordinary for me to make public comments, but I think today's important that I do so. First, I want to apologize for not being at the meeting in person. I'm speaking at a conference at 10 o'clock this morning, and obviously can't be in two places at once. Depending on how long the meeting goes, I'm going to turn it over to Vice Chairman Vargas to complete it. I got to probably run out of here about 9:40 to get down to the convention hall. But I thought it was important to call in nonetheless. I just want to say that the SDA was established for one reason, to build clean, accessible, and modern schools for kids across New Jersey. I think we all agree that it's immoral and unfair for so many of those kids to go to school in substandard, unhealthy, and dangerous building environments. The passion and the commitment of our employees and our professionals to correct that reality have changed lives and it's changed neighborhoods. That hard work should be celebrated. And I know that the board applauds our staff for what they do and why they do it. But it's unfortunate that over the last few weeks, talk of the SDA has focused on issues that are preventing the organization from focusing on its value and its mission. But fortunately, it hasn't prevented us from continuing our work and building schools and doing the things that make a difference. But we owe it to the staff, we owe it to the school districts we serve, and to the public to fully address these issues and to take steps to keep us heading in the right direction. So following meetings with the members of the audit committee and our professionals over the last few weeks, I've directed that a human resources internal audit investigation be immediately conducted to study the payroll and the hiring policies of the SDA. This process has already started, and I appreciate the work of our professionals who are engaged in it. The audit committee and the board will be updated on the progress of the review, and I'm certain that should recommendations be made, that our management team will address them. The SDA must focus exclusively now and in the future on building schools, and anything that distracts us from that needs to be corrected. I appreciate the opportunity to say this to the board, and I appreciate your support as this process unfolds. So with that, let me turn it over to Lizette, and let's get on with the meeting.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Chairman, for your comments, and thank you for your leadership and serving the board. And thank you to all the board members. I want to start today to talk about Camden High Schools that are projects in design. Ernest Bach & Sons was issued the notice NTP for the site work. CBR Heary was issued NTP for construction management services last month. Moving forward with that, projects in procurement stage, we have Orange Cleveland Elementary School and Orange High School. General construction service bids for Cleveland Elementary School and Orange High School were reviewed, and recommendations of the award are on today's agenda. Harrison New Elementary School, structural steel construction is complete. Passaic Leonard Elementary School, final inspections have commenced in anticipation of a TCO later this month. Furniture and IT deliveries will commence this month. As far as communications and outreach for the authority, the SDA new logo contest, as a brief update, as I reported previously, we had gone into the 4 new schools that we opened up this fall, and we asked the children to design a new logo for the SDA. And as a brief update, the contest ended February 15th, and we got some great submissions. Our communications team is in the process of working with the governor's office to pick the winner. Once the winner is selected, our communications team will take the winning theme and design a professional logo. And we look forward to sharing it with the board and the future board meeting. We're very excited to have the children design the logo for us. Social media, we continue to increase our social media following. And since we launched our social media accounts in September, we've grown it to more than 2,400 combined followers. As far as events are concerned, February 7th, Millville High School, we did a groundbreaking. The West Edition, we held a groundbreaking, and we had a great group of SDA staff. We had our contractors present, Millville Board of Education members, elected officials, the mayors, the assemblymen, teachers, and students were at the groundbreaking. A number of media outlets showed up and covered the events, including the Daily Journal, the Press of Atlantic City, the South Jersey Today, and Insider NJ. We also filmed the event, Facebook Live, where it was viewed by more than 1,000 people in the town of Millville. On February 11th, Dayton Avenue Education Complex, we did the groundbreaking. We had a successful day in Passaic City. A number of city officials, school officials attended. All of their legislative leadership, including the senator, were present, and they were also happy to join us at that event and be part of a historic moment in Passaic City. We filmed the event again on Facebook Live, and we got tremendous viewing, especially from the local folks. It appeared on more than 8,500 Facebook pages in Passaic City alone, and it was viewed by more than 4,600 people, and it received more than 300 likes and 40+ comments. Upcoming events that we have at the Authority, April 9th, Dayton Avenue Education Complex Information Center. This is information session. This is going to be done in conjunction with the mayor's office as well as the superintendent's office. And in Passaic, in Perth Amboy, we have in April, we have the Perth Amboy Open House Information Session as well to talk about the new high school, which is the largest project in the history of the SDA. As far as external affairs is concerned, February 1st, we were featured speakers at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We were also, on February 5th, we did a tour of the Elizabeth Schools District with the superintendent, and February 28th, and also the mayor. And February 28th, the Community Partnerships Department will be attending Irvington State of the City Address as well as Newark State of the City Address. February 28th, we were featured speakers at New Jersey's Veteran Chamber of Commerce, and to talk about access to capital and Meet the Leaders event. Upcoming events we have, March 1st, we participated in Read Across America Day in Patterson at Patterson Family Center School. On March 7th, we will host our first International Women's Day, celebration of Women's History Month with selected outstanding young women leaders from our 31 SDA districts. We have invited here to hear from our SDA staff, speakers and notable dignitaries who have been invited as well. And we will be providing lunch for them. They're coming in with their parents and chaperones. On March 13th, we will participate in the school district tour of Millville Schools with Superintendent Dr. David Gentile. And on March 26th, we are touring the Newark Schools district with Superintendent Roger Leone. On April 2nd, we will be the featured speakers at New Jersey Alliance for Action Inside Scoop event. And I want to take a moment as well to address the board and the members of the public that are here today. I want to conclude with saying, the news that you've been seeing in the media. And I want to talk a little bit about myself. I've worked my whole entire career fighting for the underprivileged in the state of New Jersey in labor unions, first with the Hotel Employees, Restaurant Employees Union, Service International Union, as well as the Carpenters Union. I have worked tirelessly to be an advocate for the underprivileged, the underrepresented, and to work to always raise workers' rights and wages and the working poor in this state. And benefits for the middle class across the Northeast. It is now my honor to lead the SDA, and I am an advocate and always have been a fierce advocate for the most vulnerable, underrepresented population. We serve the lowest income children in the state of New Jersey, urban and rural districts. My personal story, for those of you that don't know, I was a child raised in Hamilton, and I'm a child, first generation American born in this country, and I'm the child of migrant worker parents. I picked blueberries from the time I was 7 years old every summer till I was 13 in Hamilton, New Jersey. I didn't have a traditional path like most of the people did. I was a single mother raising 3 children by the time I was 19 years old. One of them was my little brother, who I took in as my own son. I had twin boys, and by the time I was 25, I had 4 children, my daughter. I worked 3 jobs to make ends meet, never depending on any public assistance. And why I say this is because I also raised my children in an SDA district. Pleasantville, New Jersey is where they went to school. I'm very well aware of the issues and the conditions in these schools. But the funny part about this is you don't realize what extreme poverty is until you're out of the extreme poverty. And I can thank the labor movement for that. And why I'm saying this is because when I started touring, my first day when I came here at the SDA district, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I hoped to do. I wanted to work with New Jersey communities to build environmentally friendly 21st century schools that were the center of neighborhood life and a safe haven for our children, because school was a safe haven for me. We lived 3 families in a 2-bedroom rancher, and school was my escape. My vision was not only to build state-of-the-art schools, which the SDA has done well for many years, but to also lift up communities. I feel it's a holistic approach, and it's a new vision and a different vision for the SDA. So I sought to change us and set us on a new direction, as all previous CEOs have enjoyed prior to me. All male, by the way. I hired a team that I knew had a proven experience working with communities and have a proven track record at doing what they were hired to do. From the beginning, we reached out to other government agencies, our stakeholders, 31 in the 31 SDA districts. We began touring schools with superintendents to see the real conditions of the SDA school districts. And at every tour, we consistently heard that this had never been done before here at the SDA. We also heard the cry of why weren't there more local people involved in these projects. In closing, I am confident of the decisions I've made in my first 6 months as the SDA CEO, because I feel they were the right decisions to benefit the most vulnerable children in our state. Personnel decisions regarding reorganization, terminations, promotions, salary increases were made with the assistance and the input of our Chief Operating Officer, Andrew Yosha, Office of the Chief of Staff, the Human Resources Department, Counsel's Office, the SDA Vice Presidents that are sitting here at this table, Don Goriello, Manny De Silva, Jane Kelly, and Tom Schrum. All of them were in place before I got here. I look forward to working with our stakeholders. I look forward to working with our staff. I look forward to working with this board to continue the critically important mission that we have here at the SDA, which is to build state-of-the-art 21st century schools that the New Jersey most vulnerable children deserve and should have. Mr. Chairman, I appreciate your call for human resources audit of the STA. Anytime an agency can undertake an internal review of its policies and procedure is a positive one, and it can only help us improve this authority and the direction that we're heading. I thank you for indulging me for this few moments, but I feel that I have to speak because there's a lot of misinformation being disseminated. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Lizette, for your comments. I appreciate it. Any comments or questions from the members of the board?
Actually, back to some of the business, Perth Am Board. Do we have a date or anything on that?
It's, does anybody, I'll get you the date. We're waiting to confirm with the superintendent. They're back, we have 2 tentative dates.
We have 2 dates.
Yeah.
But we're yeah.
Yeah, April 30th.
April 30th of May.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's going to be directly with the district or with the city or?
It's going to be everyone.
Everyone.
Mayor, district, elected officials, assembly, and senator. Everyone.
Groundbreaking?
No, for the community.
To talk about the actual high school.
Okay, okay.
No,
to talk about-
groundbreaking, that's.
It's not, no, it's not the groundbreaking.
Okay, I was going to say.
It's a community information.
That's fast.
No, it's too
That
fast.
was-
Can't wait.
We have the 2 dates secured with the district, with the 2 dates
Yeah.
secured with the district. We're just going to be finalizing today what works best logistically for everybody.
For everyone else.
Okay, all right. But now that Mike did mention that, right? What kind of timeline? I know it's way out, right, Andrew?
Yeah, so we're finalizing the bid documents now, and we'll be advertising for design build services, and there's a projected schedule for that. That'll be finalized after we meet with the engaged contract.
Okay, very good.
We'll keep you in the loop.
Thank you. That's my comment, Chairman.
Let me just say one comment.
Or
Thank you, Mario. Any other issues? Any other comments from the board at this time?
Not from the board, but from our Vice President. I know I got mentioned, just like my colleagues did, and I do take responsibility, and I did sign on to this new mission. I know new hires were brought in. I don't know that I participated in direct hiring of some of the folks, but I see the value that they bring, and ultimately the fact is we need additional funding for this authority. If we don't have the funding, I don't know what we're going to do. I have 18 projects left to build, and once I finish building those, we'll see what happens. But I do take responsibilities for my actions and my involvement, and I signed on to the mission. I think this is a mission that, I think to Rob's point, we're here to build schools, to serve the students of New Jersey, in all districts. It should not just be the SDA district, I think across the state. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for the comments. Anything else? Okay, I appreciate that, and we'll certainly have a lot more to discuss, moving forward. Let's move on to business. The committees. I'd like to give the board the audit committee report for February 19th. The audit committee met February 19th. It discussed the new funding allocation and capital plan report for January 2019. There were no changes in the reserve balances for any of the SBA districts for the reporting period, and an increase of $700,000 in the program reserve for regular operating districts due to reductions in state share grant projects nearing completion. The committee was provided an update from management on the owner's protective professional indemnity and builder's risk insurance programs. Karen Simmons, one day you're going to have to explain why these insurance programs have to have 52 words in every description. There's got to be an easier way to say this. Management discussed its plan to negotiate an amendment to the SDA's current insurance broker contract to engage a broker to negotiate extended coverage terms for the owner's protective professional indemnity, OPPI, and builder's risk insurers. Our OPPI policy expires at the end of this year, and our broker's risk insurance policy expires March 1st, 2020. There are 5 capital plan projects that will begin construction after these policies' expiration dates. The SDA's current broker services contract with Willis of New York includes the ability to amend the scope of services through negotiations and by written and signed amendment. Consistent with the operating authority, the committee will seek board approval in the event the negotiated fee to perform additional broker services exceeds 10% of Willis's current contract. The committee will seek approval by the members for the actual purchase cost of insurance for both OPPI and broker's risk. Upon approval of the new capital plan portfolio, the FDA will consider marketing new programs, but until that time, an extension provides interim coverage more efficiently and cost effectively. I know this is something that's ongoing that Karen is working on. It's going to come back to the audit committee when she's ready to make a presentation and ultimately to the board for full approval. The committee was also provided with the results of one audit from our program assessment and development unit. The audit was conducted to comply with the statutory requirements that capital portfolio projects over $10 million be reviewed to assess whether state funds were expended in accordance with contractual terms, FDA practices, and state rules and regulations. The audit revealed that state funds utilized for the project were expended prudently and consistent with legal requirements. The committee was then provided the monthly financial report. We received a preliminary December 2018 monthly financial report. These figures will need to be updated when the authority receives our GASB 68 and 75 liability figures relating to post-employment benefits other than pensions. Management reported that year-to-date operating expenses are down $2.5 million at $16.8 million as compared to the operating budget of the corresponding period. This is largely attributable to 35 fewer than budgeted full-time employees on staff, along with timeline and scheduling differences for the replacement of the Primavera contract management system. Year-to-date school facility project expenditures are at $341.1 million, which are $41.7 million lower compared to the capital spending forecast for the corresponding period. The variance is due to spending reductions in construction work, school furniture, fixtures and equipment, payroll expense allocation, from operations to developing construction projects, property acquisition, design service work, and project insurance. This variance is offset by spending increases in grant activity and temporary staffing. Expenditures, actual versus prior year actual, have decreased by $14.9 million compared to the corresponding prior year. This variance is due to decreased spending in construction work, school furniture, fixtures and equipment, property acquisition, and design services work. The variance is offset by the 2017 OSIP 2 premium audit credit for project insurance, general liability, and workers' compensation, spending reductions in grants, and temporary staffing expenses. Since program inception, the SDA has dispersed 82.9% of the funds authorized for SDA districts, 96% of which relate to school facility projects and 4% relate to operating expenses. The estimated value of school facility projects is approximately $1 billion. That's the audit committee report. I will ask if there's any questions about that. If there are no questions, I'll turn it over to Mario to give the SRC report.
But no, Mr. Chairman, thank you. But I just quickly want to highlight that there is a number in there, and I know we briefly talked about it during the committee meeting, but I think it's important to highlight that. The 4% on overhead in terms of all those projects, that's really significant. That is low.
Well, when you're spending 96% of all your money doing what you're supposed to do,
exactly.
I think that's fair.
So it just speaks to
return on investment.
To what we're doing. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks for pointing that out. Mario, you want to give the SRC report?
Yes. The school review committee, and by the way, I am standing in on behalf of Kevin, who couldn't physically be here today. The school review committee met on February 19th, at which 2 items were discussed, and we will take a vote on both items today. The first item for the board consideration is a contract award and final project charter for the Orange Cleveland Street Elementary School project. The Orange Street Cleveland Elementary School is a 38,750 square foot facility educating 306 students in grades kindergarten to 7. The scope of the project will include an approximately 11,550 square foot addition and renovations to address overcrowding at the existing facility. The project also will facilitate change in grade alignment to pre-K through grade 6, consistent with the district-approved long-range facilities plan. In November of 2018, the board approved an award for abatement and selected demolition services. Completion of the work is anticipated for April of this year. An award for the construction management services was approved by the board on December 5th of 2018. A package for construction services was advertised as a price and other factors solicitation beginning on November 14, 2018 for interested firms registered as small business enterprises to participate in the bidding process. Price was weighed at 70% of the overall weight, with all non-price factors having a combined weight of 30%. Following the procurement process, management recommends that the board approve the award of a contract in the amount of $18,400,000 to Brockwell and Carrington contractors for construction services for the project. At the time of the review, Brockwell and Carrington confirmed that its price proposal is inclusive of all scope elements contained in the contract document. Management is further recommending that the board approve the project's final charter as presented to the board. Prior to the execution of the contract and related documentation will be reviewed and approved by the SEA Division of Chiefs Counsel. Sean and Bob can answer any questions and also ask some additional comments or if any. Well,
you hit all the highlights essentially.
Right, but
Questions?
Andrew,
Sure. Manny and I can offer some additional insight. I think it's important to recognize that this project, as well as the other project in Orange that the board will consider shortly, are addition renovation projects. So some of the work is going to be performed in an existing building, the renovation work specifically. The members will recognize the difference between the CCE that was advertised and the award amount. What we are communicating in the board results from our meeting with the contractor that we're recommending the award for, Brockwell and Carrington. What that meeting revealed, and meeting with contractors pre-award is part of our standard process, we go through a detailed review of our estimate and the contractor's bid breakdown. And what that identified was that there were scope elements that were advertised for all the bidders to bid on, that our estimate, which was provided to us by an engaged professional, did not include price for every element. So once the appropriate adjustments are made, the difference between the CCE that represents all the scope and the award amount is a much smaller difference. The remaining difference is due to the fact that we are working, or the contractor will be working, in an existing building. And some of that work, specifically the demolition and related work, needs to be performed with a degree of finesse. There's a limit to the amount of heavy equipment that the contractor is going to be able to use. It's really person-heavy work. It requires a degree of manual labor, and there's costs associated with that. So once the appropriate adjustments are made, the team and all involved SCA staff recognizes that the bid value is appropriate and is making the recommendation for the board to approve an award.
okay. Any questions or comments on the phone?
Yeah, this is Kevin. I just want to add on to what Andrew said. Andrew and I had a conversation yesterday about this. The good news is that we were able to rectify that amount, and a lot of that goes into the current practice of sitting down with the winning bidder and talking it out. Renovations is much different than new construction. New construction, you have a clean slate. You don't really have a lot of barriers to get the work done. But when you start renovating, and for the most part, at least all the time that I've been on the board, rarely do we do renovations. We're really in the business to build new schools. Those price differences do pop up. The good news is that I think Andrew and Dean has grabbed it and was able to rectify it before we go forward so that we won't see any change orders in the renovation. That's it.
Yeah, this is Lester. I'd just like to echo that. I had the privilege of touring that school 3 years ago when we first began this project, and it's a school that's 120 years old, with a boiler room across from the cafeteria. The cafeteria doubles as a lunchroom. and a playroom rather, as a gymnasium. So in terms of the renovation, you can't get heavy equipment in there. I knew we had to wait a while because there was some acquisition of properties to the south, if I remember, of the building. So I think the staff has done an excellent job in getting us to this point. It's going to be extremely labor intensive to do the demolition and the rehab in there. So I want to just echo the last comments. And I'm happy to see this project finally getting to this point because it's much needed. School's 120 years old, and when we talk about what's needed and the work that this authority does, this is a much needed project.
Anyone else? Okay, the committee recommends that the board approve the contract award and final charter for the Orange Cleveland Elementary School project. Can I have a motion to vote on Resolution 7A?
So moved.
Is there, second? All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstention? Okay, thank you. Next, the committee is recommending a contract award and final project charter for the Orange High School project. The Orange High School, approved by the board on December 5th of 2018, is a 145,294 square foot facility educating 804 students in grades 10 to 12. The scope for the high school project is anticipated to include approximately 50,000 square foot, two-story addition to the existing high school facility, an enclosed connecting bridge between the high school and Orange Preparatory Academy, and selective renovation to address facility conditions deficiency at the existing high school. The project also is anticipated to address limited facility conditions deficiencies in the Preparatory Academy as well. A package for construction service was advertised as price and other factors. Solicitation beginning on October 12 of 2018, with price equaling 70% of the overall weight and all non-price factors having a combined 30%. Following the procurement process, management recommends that the members of the authority approve the award of a contract in the amount of $37 million to Terminal Construction Corporation for construction services for the project. The awardee will be required to perform constructability review prior to the initiation of construction to identify any potential conflicts and their resulting cost impacts. At the time of the review, Terminal confirmed that its price proposal is inclusive of all scope elements contained in the contract documents. Management is further recommending that the board approve the project's final charter. Prior to the execution of the contract and related documentations will be reviewed and approved by SDA Division of Chief Counsel. I think this is pretty straightforward, but unless Sean and Bob have anything else to add, I'll look for a motion. Unless there's any other questions or comments of those on the phone. All righty. The committee recommends that the board approve the contract award and final charter for the Orange High School project. I ask for a motion on Resolution 7B. Is there a second? Second? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Abstentions? Resolution carries. Mr. Chairman, that's my report.
Thank you, Mario. I appreciate it. Are there any comments or questions for staff regarding monthly reports or anything for the good of the order? Hearing none. Jane, this is where it gets a little unwieldy with me on the phone and public comment. We have people signed up to speak.
We do, Mr. Chairman. Would you like me to ask those who have signed up to approach the podium?
Yes, I'll remind members of the public who are there to speak that they're limited to 3 minutes per person. And unfortunately, Mario, I hate to do this to you, but in light of the time and the fact that I'm not there in the room,
Not a problem.
I'm gonna turn the public comment portion of the meeting over to you at this time, and in about 2 minutes, I'm gonna have to jump off to head down because I got about 800 people waiting for whatever words of wisdom I have to offer them today. So again, I apologize for the time. It is controlled.
No, not a problem. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mario, before you get going, just gotta let you just let you know that I also have to get
Okay. All right. Thank you, Kevin. All right. Not a problem. Since we have quite a number of individuals that want to express their views, I just want to remind everyone that we will ask that any member of the public who wishes to address limits their comments to 3 minutes. If there are multiple individuals from the same organization or district who wish to address the board on the same matter, I'm going to ask that you come up together to offer your remarks. And every individual gets 3 minutes. And we start with
Aaron Boss.
Good morning. I just want to start by saying it's appalling that we had to start the chairman had to start with a speech to justify the good that the SCA does. It's ridiculous. Lizette had to stop and make a comment about all the good that the SCA does. The reason why we're here is because of the kids of the state of New Jersey. The fact that we have this public comment session and we allow disgruntled ex-employees to come and make a mockery of the good that we do is appalling. But it's the law, right? They're allowed to do that. I just wanted to leave with that. Many of you may not know me. Many of you do. I'm Aaron Goss. I've been an employee with the SDA when it was the SCC for 15.5 years. I've been through 5 governors and 9 CEOs. And every time an administration comes in, this is what happens. Stuff changes, right? I just want to be on the record. Nobody asked me to come up here to speak. I was moved to speak. I don't know Lizette. I didn't know her when she came here. I'm not married to her daughter. I'm not an in-law. I'm not of any relation whatsoever. But I felt like I needed to speak. So I know I got 3 minutes. The last 7 months that I've worked with Lizette, there's a few things. I learned a lot from her. But there's a couple things that I learned from her, and that she's compassionate. Out of the 9 CEOs that I've been under leadership, not one of them has taken the opportunity to tour every SDA district. And I wanted to correct Lizette. She said in her speech, she knew what she wanted to do when she came here. The first school tour that we went on, she was invited. And after she saw the conditions of those schools, she said, you know what? I want to visit all the districts. Because she was compassionate. She talked to everybody. She talked to the kids. She talked to the custodians. She asked them, are they treating you right? Are you guys getting paid enough? Lizette didn't have to do that. She's doing that because she cares. Lizette is a real person, right? But it's not really about her. The other thing that Lizette does is she provides opportunity. There's a young lady, when Lizette got here, she said, how come this authority doesn't have security guards at our front desk? All the other authorities do. So she tried it. It didn't work out.
Mr. Goss.
Yes.
Can you start wrapping up? Because I got to be fair
okay.
to everyone.
All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. With that, I just want to say that Lizette's in a fight for her life, right? Do you know that the schools that Lizette is fighting for reauthorization provides the only meals of the day for some of these kids that actually go to school, right? We all love snow days, right? Because we don't have school. But these kids don't get to eat if they don't go to school. So these same schools that Lizette is fighting for, you guys are kicking her back in because of her hiring practices.
Thank you, Mr. Goss. Thank you.
All right, I'm sorry.
No, it's it. We have other people, so. Next.
Heather Sorge. Healthy Schools Now.
I yield my time to him.
Good morning. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak this morning. I prepared a statement. My name is Heather Sorge. I am the campaign organizer for the New Jersey Work Environment Council, and I am the chair of the Healthy Schools Now Coalition. For those of you that are not familiar with us, Healthy Schools Now is a coalition of more than 55 organizations representing a diverse set of stakeholders, including public school advocates, parents, social justice faith leaders, and environmentalists dedicated to ensuring that all New Jersey children and school employees learn and work in safe, healthy, modernized school buildings. What we know is that children cannot learn and thrive in unhealthy, unsafe conditions. When they do, we see an increase in absenteeism and illness, and morale suffers greatly as a result. Recently, I co-authored an op-ed with Rosie Grant of Patterson Education Fund, which highlighted the school facilities infrastructure problems in the SDA districts. NewJersey.com titled my op-ed, "New Jersey needs to cough up the cash so our kids won't get sick," which also was featured in the Star Ledger. So let's remember that the heart of the issue is that since no new funding has been received by the SDA since 2008, and all prior funds are spent or allocated, there are now 0 funds available for new capital projects or ROD grants. Yet we have extremely serious issues in these schools which need to be addressed. In my position, I read monthly reports about substandard school conditions across the state, reports about raw sewage in schools, mold, asbestos, mercury exposure and poisoning, and extreme temperature issues, just to name a few. Schools where windows don't open and classroom temperatures exceed 90 degrees. Or the opposite, where there are classrooms without proper heat and kids are attending class in winter coats. These are just some of the issues these students and staff face each day. How would you feel about having it actually rain in your child's classroom, or having rats drop onto them as they're attempting to eat lunch? I was extremely pleased that Roy Garcia, SDA Chief of Staff, and several members of his staff took the time to attend a recent Healthy Schools Now Coalition meeting. They provided updates and answered any questions and all questions that our members had. I believe that under the new SDA leadership, led by Lizette, a real effort is being made to increase communication, and that there has been a significant effort made to tour the 31 districts and assess conditions firsthand, something that's never been done. The SDA's increased visibility and interest in collaboration is both refreshing and extremely welcome. School health and safety should be among our top priorities in this state, and this can only be achieved by combining our efforts and working together. Unfortunately, despite collaboration and best efforts, the reality is that until the funding is authorized by the state, students and staff will continue to be exposed to unhealthy, unsafe conditions. This effort is not about the SDA or the Healthy Schools Now Coalition. It's about ensuring that students have healthy, safe schools regardless of zip code, and we need to remain focused on why we are all here and clear the way so the SDA can do the job that it was created to do. Thank you.
Next.
David Barry.
Good morning, everyone. I wish to comment on the Orange High School project, but before I do, I have a couple of other comments. I think in the interest of full disclosure, it would be important, particularly to the news media in attendance today, to note briefly that Aaron Goss received a promotion and a not insignificant raise during the quote-unquote reorganization, and I think that that's important to recognize that perhaps his personal views reflect the fact that he has benefited significantly during the most recent reorganization. I would like to take a brief moment to express my heartfelt best wishes to CEO Lizette Delgado Polanco. As a former member of the SDA family, I would like to take this opportunity to say adios y mucha suerte to you. I do so because this will very likely be your last board meeting, or perhaps the next to last, that you will have the opportunity to participate in as the CEO of the NJSDA. And on behalf of the considerable members of my former colleagues, specifically those dedicated, experienced, and qualified employees who silently endure the daily tribulations of working at the SDA, I thank you for your mercifully brief disservice to the authority and wish you and your extended family well in your future endeavors. From personal experience, I can assure you that there is, in fact, life after SDA. I fully expect that it comes as no surprise to you that during your abbreviated tenure, you have squandered the goodwill and respect that the staff normally affords incoming CEOs. You accomplished this through your blatant disregard for established hiring and firing policy and procedures. In addition, the deleterious effects on morale that prioritizing the advancement of your personal agenda above the noble mission of the authority, in concert with your generally unscrupulous behavior, are truly
Mr. Barrett,
unprecedented.
please start winding up.
I am. Thank you. And I appreciate that you allow me to go over as others have.
Actually, I have not.
As your detrimental impact on employee morale is clearly among your top 3 most significant accomplishments and perhaps the nascent cornerstone of your legacy, it should also be noted for the record that your lack of experience combined with your virtually non-existent managerial proficiency and utter lack of personal integrity is propelling the SDA toward a precipitous bureaucratic disembowelment.
Thank you.
You only got 3 minutes, you only get 3 minutes.
No, thank you. What do we have next?
Adele Bonner.
Good morning.
Good morning.
But the act to have to follow. I have my own timer also. My name is Adele Bonner. I'm a former employee who has worked at the SDA for almost 15 years. I have a bachelor's degree in business administration from Hofstra University and a master's degree in public accounting from Clark University. I'm a certified public accountant and I've worked in various departments in the SDA. To the board of directors, you are all voluntary board members who have accepted the responsibility of oversight for the actions of the SDA. We believe you have failed in your duties to the SDA and have turned a blind eye to the actions of the current CEO. Career employment should not be impacted by politics. I worked for 6 different CEOs at the SDA. Yes, Aaron, 6, not 9. During my tenure, I experienced more than one change in administration. And what you, the board of directors, have allowed to happen in the short tenure of Lizette Delgado Polanco surpasses that of any other former CEO of the SDA. To Lizette, you claim to be a supporter of women's rights. As a champion of women, how could you justify what you did to me, a working mother who was trying to pay for her daughter's college education? And what about the treatment of Lori Alvarez? After working for every CEO of the SDA, Lori chose to retire after 31 years of service rather than agree to a demotion. No one expected that from you, especially the women at SDA. Both you and the former Chief of Staff, Al Alvarez, described the employees of the SDA as your family. The actions taken against me and other employees are not what anyone would expect from their own family. I was visiting a college with my daughter when Al Alvarez left a vague voicemail on my phone saying he had a package for me. I became physically sick when I realized what was happening to me. How was I going to explain to my daughter I was losing my job? The letter was left on my doorstep. That's how the SDA treats a 15-year family member. Lizette, you relied on top executives to make decisions for you. No matter who did it, you are ultimately responsible for what has happened. You claim that the employees that were let go were bringing down the morale of the SDA.
Thank you.
I still have a minute.
Actually, no. Now, based on our count, no. No. No, thank you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Samir Shah.
Good morning. We stand today at the downward spiral of the authority in the public eye as a result of the multiple troubling reports which are being published all over. I am Samir Shah, who worked with all the previous CEOs, by the way, Aaron. I started as an EDA employee and worked for SCC and eventually SDA. It hurts me to see this agency in the current situation. Today I'm here to express my sincere concerns. Mr. Nixon and Ms. Lizeth, when both of you were appointed, the authority was at the top of the reputation created by your predecessors and the working employees who worked really hard to get where it was. I appreciate you were at the right chemistry. You could have made it happen. And with the relations that you have with the governor, you were the only responsible CEO to get the funds. But what you chose instead is to mismanage, to believe on, as soon as you were hired, to believe on your executives and promote them and give them more authority for your own failure. After that, you chose to fire those employees who were working here for over 15 years, that even Senate President recognized that those people should not have been into this wing as a result of the change of the administration. Shame on you. There were many other decisions that you made that which you highlighted in your speech, which proved to be completely wrong. You take the responsibility of that, and you should consider resigning, because that's the only thing which can bring the funds to the authority now. I really want the mission of the authority is great, and the way in which you started was in a right manner, but the decisions of hiring practices and bringing your own family was completely proven to be wrong. So if you leave this organization, then there is a potential of getting the funds. Otherwise, this mission will be stopped, and you will be the responsible for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Phil Stilton. And that concludes. Oh. Pastor Bartlett.
Good morning to you all. Pastor Bartley, Regional Coordinator for the National Action Network under the leadership of Reverend Al Sharpton. I've come here today and I've witnessed once again the bigotry, the hatred of racism to attack such a woman as Ms. Alvarez. To see how you all could speak the way that you've just spoken. This is a clear indication why I'm here. Reverend Al Sharpton directed me to come here immediately so that we could keep an eye on exactly what's going on here at SDA. We want to make sure that she's protected to do the job that she needs to do so that the community can benefit. All I hear are those that should have been fired long ago because of your attitude and the things that you say. Well, you're not concerned about the community. This is all about Senate President Sweeney. And I just would like to say that we're watching. Our eyes are on you. How dare you speak those words about such a great woman as she is. First Hispanic woman. She has a reputation that she would go into these 31 districts to look and see the condition. And all you're talking about is what you lost. You should have been lost it. And we're standing with you. We want you to know that we're on your side. And whatever you need the National Action Network to do, we will do that. Do exactly what you need us to do. I hope my time has not expired. First time the pastor only gets 3 minutes to speak. Normally it's 5 to 6 minutes.
You're still within the 3 minutes.
So again, thank you. To all of the board members, please, let's look at the reality. Let's look at the good work that she's doing, the staff that she's put together to make sure that our community and our students can benefit. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to address the board?
This closes the public comment section. Motion to adjourn. Second? No needed? Meeting's over. Thank you.